Okay, it's time now for a look at the day's top business news, and we're going to start with a potential revival for the merger between French carmaker Renault and Italy's Fiat-Chrysler. France 24's business editor Brian Quinn is here with the latest. Brian, where are we on this possible merger?
Well, Eve, as you recall, that merger plan fell through rather suddenly last week as Fiat-Chrysler withdrew its proposal to merge with Renault. Reuters is now reporting, though, that the two automotive giants are seeking ways to restart those talks. Crucial to their success, however, will be securing the approval of Renault's alliance partner Nissan. The Japanese car maker is expected to ask Renault to reduce its ownership stake in Nissan, which is currently at 43.4%. Nissan also wants the French government to reduce its stake in Renault. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire said he's looking for consensus in any merger plan. Here he is.
It's a respect on our part, on the part of the Japanese partner. A respect for Nissan, to say that if we engage in this merger, in a consolidation project, it's good that both Renault and Nissan partners are fully involved and committed to this path.
Well, meanwhile, relations between Renault and Nissan remain tense after the arrest of Alliance boss Carlos Ghosn on charges of financial misconduct last November. Nissan's been seeking to reform its corporate governance. Financial Times, though, reports Renault's CEO has told Nissan that Renault will abstain from a vote on the measures, effectively blocking them. Renault is wary of losing influence as Nissan creates new oversight committees. Nissan, though, reportedly sees Renault's participation there as a conflict of interest. Next, this weekend saw the latest meeting of G20 finance ministers in Fukuoka, Japan. The world's top economies agreeing to close cross-border tax loopholes for digital giants like Facebook and Google. They also sought to underline the economic risks of ongoing trade tensions between the U.S. and several of its trading partners. Catherine Bennett reports.
Protect free trade. That's the overarching message from Sunday's G20 meeting in Japan. The world's finance leaders vowed to focus on economic cooperation in an attempt to turn back the current global slowdown. With, of course, the elephant in the room, the trade war between the United States and China. Washington insisted that a clause calling for the resolution of trade conflicts be dropped.
Almost everybody in the room thinks that the trade tensions are a threat to growth. That's not, obviously, always the mood in the American administration.
Ministers also agreed to overhaul cross-border corporate tax in an effort to skewer digital companies that operate in countries where they manage to avoid hefty tax bills.
It's essential to put this digital tax system in place, and just as essential to have a minimum corporate tax system in order to fight against tax evasion, which rightly disgusts our compatriots.
Reformed global tax rules would ensure that tech giants are unable to register profits in low-tax countries, rather than where the customer is actually located. News that didn't sit too well with the US, which is of course home to major digital firms like Google, Amazon and Facebook. A final report on digital tax is due in 2020.
France 24's Catherine Bennett there. Checking in on the markets now. European indexes following the global trend to open higher on Monday following Donald Trump's announcement he would not be levying tariffs on imports from Mexico. It came last week. London's FTSE 100 up 0.4% at the open. The CAC 40 here in Paris not far behind. Renault shares up around 1.25% there. The Frankfurt DAX is closed for a holiday today. Asian indexes gaining as well. The Nikkei in Tokyo closing up at 1.2% as new data shows the Japanese economy grew slightly faster than expected in the first quarter. Chinese indexes in the green as new data there shows exports on the rise to give it a forecast beating trade surplus despite U.S. tariffs. Hong Kong's Hang Seng up over 2%. The Shanghai Composite up just under 0.9%. Similar for the Kospi in Seoul at the close there. Well, finally, for business, the need for speed can be an expensive one to fulfill. The title of world's fastest car is once again in the hands of French luxury car maker Bugatti. At the company's workshop in Alsace, the Bugatti Chiron is still assembled by hand. It's 1,500 horsepower, doubling the top power of competitors like Ferrari or Porsche. Only 76 examples of the supercar left the factory last year, but sales figures still looking pretty all right, as each one costs a cool 2.5 million euros before tax. That's the base model too, I think. Chiron owners tend not to put too many miles on them. They average around 2,000 kilometers per year, so the company says it's planning a new model less expensive to be used as a daily driver, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million, $1.5 million Eve, which is, you know,
Totally
a daily
affordable,
driver.
a daily driver, an ordinary car. But I am actually quite surprised they're assembled by hand. That is quite impressive. Brian Quinn, thanks a lot for that business update.